What's New Scooby-Doo brought forth some of the most interesting monster designs that the Scooby-Doo franchise had seen yet. But which one of them is the best? Alright, fair warning before we even get into this. I feel like most of these are going to end up in the A and B tier. I love these designs so much. However, that being said, the first one is not such a case. The abominable snowman from the very first episode. Yeah, snow creatures are just a dime a dozen in this franchise. Nothing overly special about them. And then same for Frosty down here. I will put him a little bit higher because it's a snowman. That's kind of fun. But yeah, these two just never really did anything for me. They're not overly scary. The snowman at least has the metal that could decapitate Shaggy at any moment. That's kind of cool. But they're really no match for the demonic toys. These action figures and the demonic Barbies, love them. Love them down. I think maybe I'm just a sucker for the action figure aesthetic, because this and there's a game on Steam where you play as little action figures and fight each other. I always thought that one looked kind of cool. Never bought it, but hey ho. Alright, then we've got the Dark Phantom here. Every time I watch this episode, I can't help but get it stuck in my head that the guy who plays number 4 from Kids Next Door is the same voice here. So the laugh will really give it away for you, and I don't think you can unhear it after you know. But their overall design is still really nice. Feels like an updated version of the Sheet Ghost from Scooby-Doo Where Are You? Then we've got the Gladiator from the Pompeii episode. Also probably goes down here. Probably ahead of him. No, I feel like that's a bit harsh. C is probably fine for him. The chase scenes are really what stick out for me to push it up above this D level. But again, we've had plenty of these type of designs in the franchise before. You could say the same thing about the Ghost of Cap Craig, but you also forget to mention Fireball. Cool as hell. Probably the best baseball villain that the gang has ever faced. At least that I can think of offhand. We have probably one from each series, honestly. Alright, and then I don't know how controversial we're gonna get here. Godzilla Shaggy. Not that cool. In fact, kind of lame. I do like the use of his jet lag to make him think he's Godzilla, or the monster, I guess we'll use. But I just don't think we get enough of those scenes to really bring it up from the bottom here. Okay, I know I came in hot with all that talk like, oh, everything's gonna be the A and B tier, blah blah blah, and so far I've got no A tiers. Well, here you go. This is the best mummy that Scooby-Doo's ever had. This one's genuinely scary. Plus the aura farming on top of the pyramid, how can you beat that? Alright, El Gusano Grande, or Large Worm. I have a personal attachment to this one because of, I said this in the episode recap, an episode of Lost Tapes, the Animal Planet horror show, which, yeah, don't worry about it. Basically there was a giant worm in the Gobi Desert who ate a bunch of motorcycle riders, and this is basically that whole episode. I feel like that came out after this Scooby-Doo episode, so there's probably some sort of lawsuit going on there. But also, how many kids were watching Scooby-Doo and also an Animal Planet Lost Tapes horror show? Probably not that many, but I was. Alright, then we've got the Smart House Robot. Terrifying in principle, like having your entire house go against you. In the episode, not that bad, I guess. Actually, they did try to drown somebody in the beginning. And also they locked Daphne up. I think I'm going to give it a boost because we're in an age where seemingly everything is Wi-Fi connected or Bluetooth or whatever. So if you have some sort of outage there, you're done for. Alright, we're going back up to the A tier with Stu Fortescue. Or Steve, one of the two. Of course, I love this episode so much. But these vampires also might be the best in the franchise. Having the twin brother arc be revealed at the very end is just such a jaw-dropping moment. And really clever by the writing staff, honestly. Plus the scene with Daphne on top of the castle will always send a shiver down my spine. I love it. Let's see, giant dinosaur that mines gold. We had something exactly like that in Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo episode. Doesn't really work for me here either. The robotic scarecrows, however, really do work for me. I love these guys. They get in the A tier pretty much just on looks alone. I mean, a scarecrow with a pumpkin head? Perfect. Plus the pitchforks and other tools for their hands? Love it. It's designs like this that make you say, wow, they're really going for it here. And then you get to an episode with like a werecat. Bad. I just don't like it. I don't care how much you try, you will never beat Simone and Lena from Zombie Island. Alright, San Francisco, honestly, love it. We'll see how many we've gotten here. Almost getting into the A tier. Escaped Alcatraz convict with a hook for a hand, and also skateboards. I mean, sign me up. Alright, this looks like the Invisible Madmen from the Simple Plan episode. I think it's a cool piece of tech. Could have been used a little bit better, I think. I do like that they're fully invisible and they don't go for the squiggly lines that we can see but the gang aren't supposed to see. Definitely adds to the surprise factor when they do actually attack. Plus this scene right here where they get shocked is actually pretty funny. Alright, when I came into this one, I pretty much only had one in my mind that was going absolute bottom tier. And it's the Scooby Snack Monster. It's trying so hard to be like the cheese monster and it's just nowhere as good. Also, I just don't really like the Gloopy monsters. Like, give me some sort of definition to them. Also, pretty much like the Wax Phantom, just way worse. Then from Large Dragon at Large, we have a large dragon. And that's pretty much just all it is. It's got some sort of cool hydraulic system going on, but for the most part, it's just a dragon. Nothing stands out too much about it, if we're honest. Alright, the Antarctic fish creature. Don't really know where to put this one. Ugly as all hell. But in the episode, pretty cool. Like, it surfs on a block of ice to catch the gang. And all the capture scenes are really well done too. I think I'll just put it top of C tier for now, and we'll see where we go from there, how it shakes out. I think this is the Wakumi, which I was very disappointed to find out that it's not like an actual mythological creature from the area. It's a completely made up thing. I think because it is just a made up thing and it was also run by the government too. And it's just a big owl. It'll probably go down somewhere in here. Yeah, I think in between Snow Creature and Cat Creature, we've got Bird Buddy. Ugh. Scooby-Doo always has to have the centaur. It's fine. It's just standard centaur. We've seen probably 20 of them in the series. Alright, Lighthouse Creeper? Hell yeah. Honestly, probably the lowest standards to get into the A tier here. The glowing white eyes, perfect. That's all I needed to see. There's a scene where Shaggy and Scooby walk up to him and you just see the white eyes glowing in the darkness. Oh, perfect. That's just perfect horror storytelling. Easily an A tier for me. Alright, NASA Alien. I don't love the design, but I do like that we see it morph over time. Like, as in, it starts small, gets bigger and bigger. Probably there for now. Alright, we've got Western Outlaw Robot. He's fine. Nothing about him really stands out too much for me. I want to say his name is something like Cold Steel, which is pretty fun that he shows like no emotion in the entire thing, but that's about it. Alright, I assume this is the demonic version of the gang from the Valentine episode. Wish we saw more of them in the actual episode. I feel like they're only in it for 5-ish minutes, but in that time, pretty cool. Framing the gang for their crimes to try and get rid of them, perfect. Plus, I feel like everybody loves a nice evil doppelganger mirror match type situation. We'll probably see something similar to this in the Mr. Incorporated one. But yeah, for now, B tier. Alright, Titanic Twist. I think he looks so cool. Like, this is an ugly boy. But even just how he moves when he's walking is just so good. You can tell, like, the knees are buckled, the back's all thrown out. It's honestly a really well done piece of animation. Alright, going from a pretty cool OC here to a gargoyle. Yeah, we've seen a ton of these throughout the series. It's fine. One of the better ones, maybe? I don't know. Alright, Demon Farmer. Cool as hell. Did you see him riding on that tractor? Hell yeah. He could have disappeared from the rest of the episode after that, and I still would have put him up here. Alright, now we've got the hockey playing... is it Ice Fiend or Frozen Fiend? Something along those lines. I also really like this design. It's like a leveled up version of the one from a pup named Scooby-Doo. Plus the hockey get-up gets a bonus for me too. Alright, now you can see where I was coming from the start. The Metallic Clown from probably the most obnoxious title in the franchise. A tier. Absolute number one for me. This is just so much fun. Like, you always see these clowns at mini golf, and you just think, huh, what if one of these did eat me? Also, it's kind of like a demonic version of the one from Happy Gilmore, so that's always good too. All right, I think this is the Toxic Terror, Toxic Avenger, something along those lines. I know it's not Toxic Avenger. We love a green queen in the ecological sense. We love a glowing queen in the bioluminescence field. And I do think that since it does take place at a summer camp, it's a little bit scarier than it normally would be if they were just randomly out in the forest. So I think probably there is where I'm gonna land on that. All right, the giant Hong Kong dragon. I love seeing these guys in real life. I love when they do like the dance at a wedding or something. In the episode, doesn't really do too much for me. I think it's good in the opening and then the scene where they're getting chased down the stairs. But aside from that, I didn't really care for many of the other appearances of it. But the same can't be said for the skeleton driver from Gentlemen Start Your Monsters. Cool as hell. In fact, probably goes up here. First off, skeleton racer, cool. But then you see his monster truck, hell yeah. Going from one of the highs to ghostly Civil War guys. We've seen these far more than I wish we did in the franchise. There, fine. Also, gold member here, never really liked you. In fact, you might actually join Scooby Snack Monster down here, but you can stay here for now. I don't know, that was just at the point of the series where they were kind of running low on creativity, let's say. There's just not too much intriguing going on here. Maybe, and I mean maybe, transferring the gold over to other people to paralyze them, kind of cool. Probably enough to jump. Okay, fair enough. Probably enough to jump the rest of these guys. But that design, I just cannot put it any higher. All right, coral creature, not technically the villain. Poor buddy just has like asthma and has to go back into the water. But I do really like this design. Probably put it up top 5-ish. I just think making like an actual monster. Let's set that straight. This is an actual monster, not somebody in a costume. I think that alone probably puts it up in the upper echelons here. But I mean, this design is just fantastic. And the chase on the beach going through all the sandcastles levels it up even more. All right, and then these are the Asamans from the final episode. Not gonna be too harsh here, but I would like to saute these and put them over white rice. Yeah, these are just kind of, I think I said demonic venonat before, and I feel like that still kind of sticks. I actually hate how they look now that I'm looking at them in depth. Also, the fact that they're not even real, yeah, get them out of here. All right, Possessed Mystery Machine. We got something like this in Be Cool Scooby-Doo. I don't think it was quite as good there as it is here. This one, I think it's just the green underglow, honestly. They really like swagged out the Mystery Machine here. I just really like this one. Cornering them in the alley, such a good scene. All right, Ghost of Rufus Raucus, also really cool. Not only does he have fireballs, he's also magic and does a bunch of cool little stunts throughout the episode. Plus, I think the whole magician getup is really neat. Like this mask and the cloak, and it's just perfect. Then we go to the Roller Ghoster. Dumbass name, looks stupid. I always hate these little like extra bits of hair here. Like, what are we doing? Also, just takes the lighthouse creeper eyes and just has jaundice, so I guess we won't be seeing you for very long. I think riding the jet ski at the beginning was probably enough to vault it over the rest of these guys, but that's not saying too much about any of them. In fact, now that I'm looking at it, probably too harsh on our very first one. Riding on an avalanche is pretty badass, if we're being real here. All right, glowing safari animals. I love these guys. They're not even really trying to be scary. They just don't really know what's going on here. Like, imagine you woke up one day and you're just glowing yellow. I'm sure you'd be pretty freaked out too. And finally, the sea creature. The opening is probably the best that it gets for it. Once you take a better look at it, you realize, wow, this looks pretty dumb. There's been better sea creature designs in the franchise, but there's also been worse. So, alright, this kind of ended how I expected it to. We've got more in the A tier than any others, but they're all pretty equal. And then we've got this guy down here. Let's see, do I want any last minute adjustments? I think Rufus jumps them. He probably jumps all of them. You probably go back down here. And you go down here. And that's probably fine. Yeah, that's where I'll call it. This is the official What's New Scooby-Doo monster ranking. My opinion's the only one that matters. This is completely right. But if you happen to disagree, you can go ahead and let me know down below. Thank you as always to my lovely members over on the Patreon. I've got a tier for free members now, so if you just want to come over and hang out and see what's going on, then you can use the link down below. And if you have the means to become a paid member like these lovely people, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you as always for liking the video, hitting the subscribe button, and just even clicking on the video in the first place. And until next time, bye.